And today's topic will be something many people ask about, especially recently, and that is, what is a good salary to live in Prague? So I'll explain everything. I'll explain like what is the average salary, what kind of cost you should expect, and what is the relation between your gross salary and like net salary. So I'll go through everything like this. If you have questions, Agnello, thank you for joining. Guys, thank you very much for all the likes and everything. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer them either during the live stream or at the end. But let's go right into the topic. So the average salary for the first quarter of 2022 was 38,000 crowns a month gross. That equals to, let's say, 30,000 crowns net. So if in your employment contract it says that your gross salary will be 38,000 crowns, you will get net 30,000 crowns to your bank account every month. So there is some deduction, there is some difference between the gross salary and the net salary, which is usually just the social security, healthcare, and income tax deducted from your salary. On top of that, also your employer needs to pay something extra to the social security, healthcare, and income tax. So there are basically three levels of the salary. Net salary, which is the salary you get to your bank account. Gross salary, which is what you have in your employment contract, and it includes some portion of the social security, healthcare, and income tax. And then you have a total cost of the employer, which are additional costs for the social security, healthcare, and income tax. So let's say if you get 30,000 crowns as your net salary, your gross is 38, but the total cost for your employer is like 51 or something like that. Okay, so that's the first thing. And now, is it a good salary, the average salary? If we say 38,000 crowns, because this is a question plenty of people ask on Facebook, in different groups and everywhere. So I just wanted to touch this topic. In my opinion, obviously, this depends on you and your lifestyle and what you spend money for and how much you eat, how much you cook at home, how much you go out to restaurants, how much you travel, how much you want to save. So there are very many variables, and it's not possible to just like easily say this is a good salary, this is not a good salary. It depends on many factors. But generally, to give you an idea, if you're new to Prague, if you're thinking about moving here, or if you just arrived or you got a new offer or something, and you're thinking about moving here and you're thinking of what is a good salary, then let me give you some numbers so you at least get some idea. So let's say 38,000 crowns gross. Is it a good salary or not? Like 38, as mentioned, it will be 30 net. So that will be 30, which lands on your bank account every month. Now, given the situation on the market, like real estate market, if you live alone, if you're like a just single person and you live in a studio, sorry guys, then you should expect to pay, let's say, around 15,000 crowns a month for the studio as a rent. So half of your salary will be gone for rent. Of course, it depends. You can get a cheaper apartment, and especially if you don't mind living in a flat share, for example, then you can pay way less. You can pay 9,000 crowns, 10,000 crowns for a room. I've seen 8,000 crowns for a room, which is not very common, but it can happen. So then obviously you save more money. But if it's like a standard average scenario, 15,000 crowns for a studio. So half of your salary is gone. Then as for food, depends, of course. If you cook at home, then you save more money than if you go out. And then if you cook at home, it depends on what you eat. If you mainly eat like rice and bread and maybe some like a bit of butter and maybe some ham or something, you can probably live with like 200 crowns a month. 200 crowns a month would be very good. 200 crowns a day. So that would make 6,000 crowns a month. But that would be like a very basic food for one person. Just like a bread and butter and maybe some ham and maybe some cheese, but not really like nothing fancy. So that would be 6,000 crowns. So that's, let's say, 21. And you have 9,000 crowns to spend on other things. So like traveling, save something. Also, you need to count that you will be paying the monthly transportation ticket, you will be paying internet on monthly basis, you will be paying your phone. Those are all, let's say, 500. So 500, 500, 500, like 1,500. And then it depends on what else you spend money. Of course, you need to buy some, not only groceries, but some like cleaning supplies and all that stuff, and toilet paper, stuff like that. So overall, if your gross salary is 38,000 crowns and you move here alone, it's probably an okay salary for you to kind of live okay. You might be able to save a bit, but it depends. You will need to save on something else, because for example, like my example, I follow kind of a very specific diet, let's say. I only eat certain things, and I usually spend between 300 to 500 crowns a day for a food, which I just sometimes I order, sometimes I buy like myself, but I usually don't cook at home. So I buy something like, I don't know, nuts and dates and like vegetables and some kind of like fruits and stuff. And it's usually like 300 to 500 crowns a day, which makes total of, let's say, 9,000 to 15,000 crowns a month for food. So if your salary is 30, you spend 15 for your accommodation and another 15 for your food, then you probably don't have much to save and much to like spend on something else. So it very much depends, but like to sum it up somehow, so you get something at least a bit valuable, I would say that like 38,000 gross, meaning 30,000 crowns net for one person, is what I would be looking for. If you get less, then I would look at some like other savings. So maybe you can get like 25,000 net if your employer provides some accommodation and you'll be living for free or for 5,000 crowns a month. Or if you work in a restaurant and you can eat whatever you want in the restaurant during the day, it also saves you a lot of money. So like lower salaries can be reasonable if there is some advantage you get along with the lower salary. So 38, the average salary in the Czech Republic in the first quarter of 2022, I would say it's okay salary. Obviously, most people don't have this salary because it's average. And the average, there are plenty of people like IT professionals or managers or politicians who have way higher salaries, double, triple, 5 times, 6 times, 10 times higher salaries. So the average, in real, most people don't get the average salary. Most people get lower salary than the average. But if you're moving to the Czech Republic, because there are also like one more thing is that as a foreigner, you don't only have the costs as like we Czech people do. You need to count also with paying for every extension of your visa or residence permit. You will be paying at least the 2,500 crowns to the MOI. You will need to, in many cases, especially if you're a student or if you're bringing a family, you will need to pay the health insurance. And the health insurance now, as you all know, it's the bullshit like PVZP company, the only like one you can choose. So you cannot choose at all, basically. And that starts at 25,000 crowns a year. So that's if your salary is 30,000 crowns a month, then it's like basically 1 month of your salary is just for the health insurance. So you need to consider this as well. So I would say that the 38, and also like locals, if they get lower salaries, that might be okay because they might get better deals on housing, or they might live in their own apartments or stuff like that. So they can save for some other things. But I would say if you're moving here for work, whatever country you're moving here from doesn't really matter. But I would be looking for at least the average Czech salary, which was 38,000 crowns in the first quarter of 2022. In that case, you can live somehow reasonably, and then it depends on what you can save, where you can save. So it depends on how comfortable the life will be. But like the 38 gross would be the minimum I would be looking for. Sometimes, of course, like what you get on paper and what you get in real life, especially in restaurants and some other fields, there's a difference. So you can have like a salary of 20,000 crowns gross in your employment contract, meaning like 17 net or something like that, which would be like really nothing. But then you get extra like 15,000 crowns, like pocket money, let's say, or like untaxed money, or you get it in cash or under the table. Hi, Air. Nice to see you here. I haven't seen you here for a very long time, so thank you for joining. Yeah, it's kind of reasonable. I understand it because I like many of our clients are restaurant owners, and like I see it also from the business perspective and from the salary perspective. Because if I mentioned in the beginning, if your net salary is 30,000 crowns, the total cost for your employer is over 50,000 crowns. So they give 30 to you and another 20 to the government for the social security, healthcare, income tax. And this used to be even higher. Now it's a bit lower, so it's a bit better for employers, but it's still very expensive to have employees in the Czech Republic. So I understand that it's often done this way, and it's okay as long as it works. On the other hand, if your employment contract says 20,000 crowns, and your employer tells you, okay, but I will be giving you another 10 like under the table. If they don't give it to you, what can you do? Your employment contract says 20, you get 20, or actually like 17 or whatever is the net out of that, and you cannot do anything. That they promised something, that they told you they would be giving you something extra, it's not written anywhere. You have no right to get it. So I understand it. I understand that it works that way, but you need to really find like a reliable employer if you want to have like arrangement like this, that they will be paying you something under the table. Because if they don't, then you have anything. You don't have anything in hand to go to police or to go some inspection or somewhere and complain about it. So anyway, just to wrap it up, to sum it up, 38,000 crowns, that's something for one person gross salary. I would be looking for, at least if you want to live at least some okay life. It, as mentioned, like unless you live in a shared apartment, pay 8,000 crowns a month, and then you spend like 6,000 crowns a month on food, which would be like really eating bread, rice, and like maybe some vegetables or a bit of meat sometime, then 38 might be okay. But besides that, that's not really a high salary. So especially considering all the other costs as you have as a foreigner, like the health insurance, revenue stamps to the government for submitting your application, all that. So I would definitely not be going below 38,000 crowns gross, which is the average Czech salary for first quarter of 2022. So hopefully this is helpful. Obviously, then this changes if you have family. If you are coming here and more people, you will be looking for bigger apartment. You will have more people traveling here. Then the calculation is different. Obviously, it depends on the salary and on how many people will be in the family, because some of the costs will be lower. Obviously, if you have like 3 people in the family, you will not be paying 3 times 15,000 crowns for your apartment. You can probably get a good apartment for 30, and if you have 3 people earning money, then you'll save some money. Of course, also if you're cooking at home and you will be cooking for 2, it will be in total cheaper, or on average it will be cheaper than if you each cook for yourself. So it's, of course, there are some things you save on. On the other hand, you need to count with double cost of the health insurance. Because, for example, if you keep in mind that, for example, if you're extending your family reunification residence permit, if you want to get it for another 2 years, you need to buy health insurance for 2 years. And if 1 year is 25,000 crowns, let's say, and you're 3 family members, then it's like 2 times 25, so it's 50 per person, times 2. It's like 100,000 crowns, which you need to pay upfront for the health insurance just to extend your residence permits. So you need to save up on this, save up these like amounts. So you need to keep all this in mind. But like I would not go below 40,000 crowns gross salary which leaves you with like 32 net salary, and that's kind of okay. You can live with that. You can maybe save something, but it will not be like super exciting life, I would say.